Hello and good afternoon. I want to thank you for joining me today. I remember last week we were thinking about ways to think about the Christian life, just in purely simple terms. I shared with you Brother Lawrence, a soldier in the 30 Years' War, wanted to put the war behind him, became a Catholic lay brother in the Franciscan order, didn't want to think about all the horrors of war. And his way of living the Christian life, a simple way for him to do it, was simply the practice, the presence of God in every moment. Another person I really admire simplified the Christian life in this way. He said, it's Jean-Pierre de Caussade. He was a Catholic priest, tried to write a book. It wasn't very successful. It was long out of print. But 100 years after his death, his friends and people for whom he had been a spiritual director, put together notes and letters and notes they had taken from conversations. They put it together in a book called Abandonment to Divine Providence. And for Jean-Pierre de Caussade, the Christian life was simply abandoning yourself to the love of God in every circumstance. Brother Lawrence, practicing the presence of God in every moment. For Jean-Pierre, it was to practice trusting God in every circumstance. And last week I shared with you that for me, when I think about it, if you were to ask me, my first reflexive answer would be to live the blessed life, to know that you're blessed, forgiven, loved, under the mercy and grace of God. And then we're duty bound to share that, to bless the lives of others. So it led me this week to think about, if that's what the Christian life is about, what is life itself all about? What's the purpose of life? Well, for the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, at least for Aristotle, the blessed life, the sunum bonum, the good life, is about health, wealth, wisdom, friendship, and what was that fifth one? Virtue. Health, wealth, wisdom, friendship, and virtue. What's the purpose? What's the goal of life for you? Is it security or happiness or success? Is it some of these, all of these? Well, when Jesus was asked, what's the sunum bonum, the good life? What's the purpose of life? He said, the goal of life, the purpose of life, is to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, with all your being, and then to love your neighbor, the person next to you, right around you, as yourself. Peter, in his letter, put it this way: above all, above everything else, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. Paul in Galatians put it this way. He said, the only thing that counts is faith expressing itself in acts of love. The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself in acts of love. John, in his letter, and one of his letters, put it this way: everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. God is love, and it's love that gives us confidence on the day of judgment. It's not moral purity, it's not doctrinal correctness. It is love, our willingness to learn to love. Paul says in Corinthians, without love you gain nothing, you achieve nothing, you are nothing. I think you know where I'm going here. The meaning of life, the secret to life, and this is the secret of life. Life is all about just one thing: learning to live a life of love. Gain what you want, achieve what you want, dare and do great things if you want. Without love, you gain, you achieve, you are nothing. It's all empty and a waste. So if life is a school of love, where's the classroom? Our families, our marriages, our friends, our enemies, the people around us in the traffic at Charleston. Everyone around us is where we learn to practice love, everyone with whom we come into contact. Experts tell us that in order to die well, people need to hear and to say 4 things. I love you. Thank you. I forgive you. Will you forgive me? Those things are all about love. Gratitude, grace, mercy, forgiveness, love. If we don't die well, it's because we didn't know love. I think the 2 most important things, or 2 most difficult things for human beings to do, are to stay in connection with people who are difficult, who hurt us, or whom we've hurt, to stay in connection with those people, and to say the 7 most difficult words in the world, and most important, I was wrong. Will you forgive me? Those are both aspects of love. See, the problem with us is that we all yearn to be loved well, but the truth is that we're all pretty poor lovers. We all want more love than we're willing or able to give. We all want more love than we think we deserve. In other words, we're naturally not very good lovers. We're broken and dysfunctional, all of us. So, there's trouble and tension and confusion and disappointment and hurt. These are all normal in a world of poor lovers yearning to be loved. And you probably have tried these things in the world: nagging, managing, fixing, ignoring, withholding, denying. And even though we know they don't work, we keep on doing it, trying to leverage other people to love us and to cover our lack of love. What the world needs, what God's people need to do, is to learn to love. In other words, to go to school. And I think it consists primarily of 2 things. First, and learning to love well is learning to receive love. My favorite service is the wedding service of marriage. And my favorite words in that service are the very first 2 words. You've heard them 1,000 times if you've been to a wedding. And they're usually just passed over right away, but those first 2 words are the basis for everything else in the service. And they're 2 simple words. Dearly beloved. Do you know yourself dearly loved? Because only those who know themselves well loved can in turn learn to love well. Learning to love makes us like God. It's going to make us vulnerable. Read Isaiah 53. The Son of God, through whom God shows his love to the world, was despised, rejected, held in low esteem. He wasn't powerful. He wasn't good looking. He didn't give them what they wanted. He simply loved. And he was rejected, despised, in the end crucified. The way of love. To make yourself vulnerable to those who are difficult to love. So what do? Learn to live a life of love. God loved you. Because only those who know themselves well loved can love well and will love well and will live the life they were meant to live. So let's love each other if our lives depended on it, because they do. Let's love because it's the only thing that covers a multitude of sins and disappointments and sorrows. Love is everything. Love is the only thing. And remember this, that in learning to live this life of love, this life in love, all of us have an ever-present source of aid and a perfect model in the person of Jesus, who gave his life for us all. Pray with me. Father, in this moment, I pray that you bring to our minds those people closest to us whom we need to learn to love well. In this time, in this moment, show us what to do, and then give us the grace and the power to do it, so that we may take the next best step in learning a life of love. Amen. Blessings on you.